Today is a Fixing the Nation First. We host royalty in studio. Our conversation this hour is with Her Royal Highness Dr. Nozizwe Mulela-Zulu, Queen of Eswatini and Managing Director, Eswatini Bank. Good morning, Queen Nozi.
Morning.
It's good to have you in studio.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Like I said, this is a Fixing the Nation First. We've hosted many, but not royalty. So we're very honored today. We usually begin our conversations with a quote of the day. So Phalaris will share the quote of the day with you, and you can see if you agree, disagree, and if it speaks to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're very much welcome.
Thank you.
Our quote of the day is courtesy of Kofi Annan, and the quote reads, "To live is to choose, but to choose well, you must know who you are." How does that speak to you?
Very well. It's very, very true. You should know who you are. You should certainly know who you are.
Love it.
That's where you begin.
That's
Yes.
where we begin.
First, know yourself.
Exactly.
First, know thyself. And then you shall now go into everything
To
else.
live, you must know yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Queen, let's start with just understanding the geography. So we all know Eswatini. We know it's a monarchy. And now here you are queen. Okay? So walk us through that. You know what I mean?
All right. First, let me correct something.
Okay.
All right. So I am a queen of the Zulu nation. Yes. But I'm born in Eswatini and I work in Eswatini. So Eswatini is my motherland. Then I got married in Zululand. So I am a queen in Zululand.
Okay. Where
Yeah.
is Zululand?
Zululand is in South Africa,
There you go.
KZN. Yes.
So now you're queen of Zululand, but you are CEO of Eswatini Bank,
Yes.
which is in Eswatini,
Yes.
not in South Africa.
Yes.
Okay. So walk us through then. So the Zulu nation,
Yes.
how is that hierarchy? Like, what's the connection between the Zulu nation, the monarchy of the Zulu, plus now the nation?
Okay. So Zulu, like all kingdoms, has got a king. And beneath him, he's got subjects. Those are the citizens of the Zulu people. So that's just how it goes. And I'm married to him. And similarly, in Eswatini, it's the same thing. There's a king in Eswatini who also has subjects in the country of Eswatini. The difference, though, is that the Zulu nation is within the bigger South Africa. And then Eswatini is a standalone country. But at the end of the day, it's two kingdoms. And both have kings or monarchs. And that's how it is.
Okay.
But it's the Swati king is not a constitutional king. Yet the Zulu king, because they are within the South African Republic, they are still a constitutional king.
They're recognized in the Constitution.
Yes.
I'm actually curious, how does that sit within the governance structure of the country?
Right.
All right, so there's traditional leadership throughout South Africa because you all know that we begin there.
Yes.
As much as there's governments, but there's also traditional leaders. So what's important is that these two types of leaders work together side by side. So as much as obviously there's a president and a republic, but the president and the republic does recognize that they are kings and chiefs within the bigger South Africa that work with him also to ensure there's peace and stability of the country, because you know that the traditional leaders control and lead their people, and for the republic, for the president and the government to actually be able to run the country, they must have good and cordial relationships with the kings. So that's how it works. It's a side-by-side cordial relationship.
Okay. Talk to me a little bit about your work as well. I know you are a lawyer. You hold a doctorate, an honorary doctorate as well, and you're now managing Eswatini Bank. But let's start with the career life, the career move from law into banking. I think that's a very, you can straddle the line, but it was
trust me.
it sounds like a massive shift.
Yeah, it was a big shift, but a major shift that made me who I am right now. So it was a good move, a risky one, but I kind of got bored and didn't quite see a future in law for me, you know. So I decided, and I was working for a bank at the time as a legal advisor, and I think the growth or the scope was limited. You know, you're a legal advisor and that's it. So I decided I'd love to venture into banking, core banking. So that's how I made the move from my legal corner in a bank to just being a core banker. And from then on, I just took on and took off. And I think it's helped me, because it gave me opportunities thereafter. And I still do my legal work. I mean, it's necessary as you continue to do all the work, particularly when you're a CEO, you have to also have a legal understanding of issues. So it still works.
And I'll get a little bit into the banking sector in Eswatini, because I want to. We have the Business Daily is like our favorite newspaper here, and for the last maybe 3 months, almost every day there'll be a headline on how Kenyan banks are just making record profits in one way or the other. Record profits. But talk to me about the banking sector in Eswatini, its size, the growth it's seeing right now, and essentially where it sits in the financial infrastructure of Africa.
Well, look, it's one of the sectors that are really resilient and are doing well in the country, the financial services sector. And I think we're seeing a lot of that in most of our countries. It's a resilient sector. And I think there's also rapid growth in it. As you see, there's open banking and the fintechs are also coming into banking. So it's a growing sector too, but very competitive. We're seeing a lot of that in Eswatini. So it's becoming a very tough sector to play in. You constantly have to be creative and innovative around how you just grow it. But what we're seeing in Eswatini specifically, we've got national banks, and then we've got a few. Just the bank that I look after is a national bank, and then we also have the foreign banks in our country. So mainly we have those, and then just a few of the banks. But it is a resilient sector, I think, and it's coming up all right. Tough to run, highly competitive, particularly if you're a national bank or a local bank, because you're competing against these foreign banks that have bigger support and a bigger network in Africa.
It's just still sticking to matters banking. We've seen so many changes across the continent as far as our ability as a continent to actually then lend amongst ourselves and also expand across different jurisdictions. Maybe speak to us about the ambitions that the Bank of Eswatini has as far as its growth plan from your vision, because your vision has to translate now to the bank's ultimate vision for it being a Pan-African bank.
Exactly. I think first and foremost, we are trying to push digitization as much as possible. I think that's what we are seeing at this point, that we have to digitize our products, we have to digitize our processes as much as possible, improve our systems. So that's a major move for us. But in particular, I think also the cross-border payments for us has become very important. We have to support trade in Africa. We know that that's the drive that Africa is trying to do, for us to trade together and within ourselves. And if we are to do that, then the payment systems within our countries must also open and be able to facilitate that. So that is another ambition, to be able to ensure that our payment systems are flexible, they're convenient for our customers, and they're able to do business within amongst ourselves as Africa. So that's the ambition for our national bank.
How close are we to this ambition?
Well, we are able to do that, but we need to be a lot more sleeker and smoother. You know, it's not like we can't pay it to Nairobi from Eswatini. We can do that, you can pay. But it's just that, there's still some hurdles in between. We want instant payments. We want monies to be received immediately and instantly. So those are the things that we need to fine tune. But otherwise, we definitely are on the right track.
So the Bank of Eswatini, the Eswatini Bank, is, like you said, it's a national bank. And of course, it's facing competition from the other.
Huge competition.
Huge competition as well. How would you rank it? Tier 1, Tier 2?
At this point, it's about Tier 2.
Okay.
It's about Tier 2. It's still finding its way. I think the major challenge, or at least the uniqueness of the bank, is that it's not just a commercial bank, it's also a development bank. And I think that uniqueness or that structure has brought in a lot of complications also in it, because on the one end it's driving national development, but on the other it's just a commercial bank, and looking out for its shareholders. So that then presents a difficult position for the bank, because the purpose is very key as you work as a bank. What are you driving and what are you trying to achieve? Yeah. So whilst the commercial banks will be driving profitability and all else, we also have to be mindful that, look, we're trying to drive the national agenda here, and we're trying to develop our country. So that is also one of the key problems that we are seeing. We're talking to it to see how we can strike the balance. But I think important is what I'm seeing and I'm hearing from the shareholders, we don't want to lose the key mandate, that of development. So I think we are more developing than commercial.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think many such banks always face that kind of pressure.
Yes, exactly.
And because there's an expectation that you are not here to make profit, you're here to provide capital for development.
Exactly.
But that capital for development has got to be sustainable in a way.
Yes.
And the government at some point will
you're starting a bigger, exactly.
Right? And start telling you sort yourselves out.
And that's the position. Government will normally say sort yourself out. Exactly. And that's where we are even now. Sort yourself out.
How do you straddle that? Does that call for some level of playing of politics? Like internal level, let's call it diplomatic politics.
It does to a greater extent. I think it's also got to do with government understanding that the bank is trying to drive their agenda. So if we are trying to drive your agenda, which you need to achieve yourself, then use the bank as a vehicle to achieve your goals. So with that approach, you can almost see and feel the support. But what I've noted is that the bank also needs to get up and really go and source and seek funding. That is another way of doing it. So it's what we do, we tend to do. But at the end of the day, I think government should not forget its responsibility, which is to support the bank so that it drives its national agenda. And yes, you play politics quite a lot.
I can imagine that. Because on the other hand...
because what you will see is politicians want development. They'll be like, is the bank developing? Why? And you're like, are you giving the bank money to develop? So it's a,
the tussle.
Exactly.
What comes from your customers? That's the citizens. Citizens, do they look at this bank as just an arm of government, or do they look at it as a commercial entity?
They look at it as a development bank, which is an arm of government in a way. That is why you will find that, and the problem with that, citizens will think sometimes they will not want to repay loans because it's government. It's kind of government related. So you'll find that they are calling for development from the bank. And that's what they want and that's what they expect. But when it's their turn to play their part, no, it's government. Government has to do that. So our citizens want development, and that's what we are. But we do advise that, look, we're also a commercial bank, and the government must also support in order for us to develop.
True.
Yeah.
Okay. It's, just looking at the Eswatini Bank and just banking in general, across the board, it's very male-dominated. And usually I don't like dividing sectors into what, men are doing. And, we are living in a modern-day world where girls are doing... amazing things. 61 years of having a bank, not run by a woman, and then in comes you, Queen Nozi, and that speaks to something. It speaks to a level of acceptance that is there for women leadership. But I want us to look at the pace at which 61 years maybe could have been shorter. Are we creating enough space for women such like yourselves to be at the helm of leadership of financial institutions, to do the incredible work that you're doing? What are you seeing? What are the gaps?
It comes both ways. I always say it's also got to do with women too. And let's admit that. Because what you will see is there may be opportunities, but women, you'll find that they're a bit fearful of taking up these positions for whatever reason. Some of them feel that they're content with where they are because they've got a bigger life, they've got a family to look after, they've got, and all that. So they must balance that out, and then going up and rising is something that they would not want to do. Yeah. But also, I think we need to, as women, just keep pushing and pushing. And unfortunately, that's just how it is. To take the space and get up the top. It's a lot of work when you're a woman. It takes education. It takes being present in spaces and pushing and participating in boards and a lot of work in order for you to be seen and being visible and being accepted as somebody that's capable of doing that. Yeah. So I think 61 years is a long time, but it's a situation that's on the ground. It's a male-dominated industry, but I'm happy to say in Eswatini, actually, we've got we're 3 female CEOs in just a few banks that we are. So it's not bad. But what you see as the higher you go, the lesser, the fewer. Yes, exactly. And that's that's what we need to work on as women. I think we need to give a little confidence in them to say, look, and that's why I aspire to show women that, look, it's doable. If I got there, you can too. So that's what we need to do.
There's also unbanked populations in a lot of African countries, and sometimes informal businesses make up the bulk of our economies.
Yes,
it's the case
definitely.
Here. I'm sure it's the case in Eswatini. What then are the moves that you're trying to make to ensure that, essentially the unbanked become banked, and that especially informal businesses can get into like the banking pipeline, access credit, all of those things? And so it always feels like, there's a huge population that's pushing the economy, but no one is kind of looking
after it and even taking anything there. So what we're doing, financial inclusion is one of the key things that we have to do as a Eswatini bank, as a development bank.
Yes.
So we've got the digital products we're pushing, to those customers. We've got our wallet, especially the wallet that we are trying to push in there, and the agency banking, because most of them can't quite get to the cities, to the banks. So we're trying to get the bank closer to them. So we've got agency banking, so that we've got a bank just around the corner, either in the form of a shop or in the form of just a woman sitting at the corner. They're being able to take deposits and withdrawals for you. So our wallet is you are able to do everything, like pay, buy, utility, and transfer and pay and receive. So that's what they need. There's a lot of money in the informal sector, I must tell you that.
True.
So we found that it's necessary that we look after them. So we're pushing our agency banking and our wallet as much as possible to them. And tied to that, there's also a bit of a loan that comes with that within the digital. Yeah.
Oh, any conversations with M-Pesa or Safaricom on how to...
Actually, I'd love to connect whilst I'm here, just because I know it's very, very popular. In Eswatini, we've got the mobile money, MTN, very popular, something similar. Yeah. But I'd like to actually connect with the M-Pesa, because I know it's like big. Yeah. It's a big payment app here.
Yeah. I think it's almost made it. So the question on, banking the unbanked here was answered by M-Pesa. It was not
very popular.
I don't know if it was by design or by accident, but it banked the unbanked for sure.
And they say an opportunity met a need.
Yes, an opportunity met a need.
There was a need in the market. And a big part of the population was largely being ignored, just like you're saying, because it was not, the money was not formalized in that kind of way. But see how much has been tapped into the economy just by virtue of bringing in, someone who's a farmer, someone who's, just doing the most unconventional of jobs. And I'm actually very curious about what the people of Eswatini do economically. What is like number 1, 2, 3 in terms of economic input? Agriculture.
Oh yeah, a lot of agriculture. Swatis have got land, they've got water, so there's a lot of agriculture going on there. I mean, sugar is our key economic driver, but there's also maize. There's a lot of agriculture. We also do horticulture, but it's not enough. So we are trying to drive the agenda of food sovereignty, ensuring that we don't bring in as much as possible, because we've got almost everything that can make us actually, produce our own. So that's, so agriculture is key. Second to that, it's really retail, trade. They go and women go and buy it in bulk and come and trade and sell. That's also the next big sector.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just going back into that and how the bank seeks to support the various sectors of the economy, right? One of the big conversations that happens in this country is banks looking at how to support the informal sector and the MSMEs.
Yeah.
And, you talk about the MSMEs, then we are talking about people, entrepreneurs into medium-sized all the way. People who are running a business and banking is peripheral. And they have other ways of securing financing, because they look at a bank and they see a bank is an expensive mode,
and it's got processes
and
that
the
are
processes
tedious.
are just too much.
Yeah.
So how do you seek to change that to serve your customers better? That's a question that we keep asking all our CEOs of banks. Like, what are you doing to make it easier for people to just access money from your bank?
I know, and the conversation has always been around SME banking, and they're not getting funding, and we go to these forums and there's always issues about financing and all that. But I think the first and foremost thing, it's important that we also try and skill our SMMEs, because what you will find there is that they also don't quite have the business principles and understanding of business, and that's what makes them high risk. Then the banks tend to have
Stay away.
not even stay away, have barriers of accessing funding for them. So the first and foremost things, we need to help them understand what business is and so on and so forth. But after that, we can avail funds. There are requirements, yes, but they need to also be available to give the bank what the bank needs, because what they tend to do is want the money, yet there's a process in wanting the money, and we cannot run away from that.
I was going to say that as well. I mean,
Money doesn't come free, guys.
True.
So we
And it
have to,
shouldn't.
and it shouldn't.
Right. But do you think there's a possibility, a slight possibility, that the modern banking sector
Yes.
is speaking one language, while businesses speak another language? Now, you coming to tell me that, because I don't know English, therefore I don't know how to speak. It's something different.
No, it's actually not that.
Let me just go a bit further. So there are people who have started a business. I've seen a business opportunity. I am getting into it, and I am making some money. I've got some overhead. So what I've not done is I don't have
A business
books.
case.
I don't have a prospectus. I don't have
I'm not doing
business
bookkeeping
plan.
in the way that you want me to do bookkeeping at the end of the day, But I have my records up here.
Right, I know I'm making money.
That is where digitization comes.
Right.
So that is what we are trying to do. To say, look, let's use credit scoring, for instance, but all you need to do is make sure you bank with that bank, so the bank can have your data. So data has become very important in banks, because it helps you to analyze how capable this client or customer is to repay that loan, for instance. So technology is the way to go to help our customers. All they need to do is open an account and start banking with us, and we collect data in that way, and we are able to service them.
Okay, let's take a break. When you come back, I want to tell you data in their language.
Okay.
Because there's data in your language, you'll be like, these guys are not making any money. They're not worth it.
Okay.
But if you listen to them and understood their language, you could actually realize maybe
Just maybe there's
there
something
is
there.
a different business case. We're hosting Her Royal Highness Dr. Nozizwe Zulu. She is the Queen of the Zulu Nation in South Africa, but also the CEO of the Eswatini Bank. We are talking about banking and just seeking to understand banking from their perspective. We'll be back shortly.
Indeed.
We continue our conversation with Her Royal Highness Queen Nozizwe Mulela-Zulu. She was born and raised in Eswatini. She got married in KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa, to the king of the Zulu nation of South Africa. So she's queen of the Zulu nation of South Africa. She is also the CEO of the Bank of Eswatini in Eswatini. Whole connection here. The connection with Eswatini and the Queen and the Zulu nation and the South Africa. So this is why we're here. We've been talking about the banking sector. And just before we took a break, Queen Nozi, I was just pushing back on the thinking not just of not of bank CEOs, but the banking sector in a way, where the public has just been saying, you banks don't understand us and you want us to understand you. One of the conversations that we had here with one of the bank CEOs in Kenya, Joshua Oigara, was like he went to an informal market called Mathare where people sell second-hand clothes, sat there with a trader and realized that this trader actually moves volumes in a day, in a week, in a month. But she's not banked. She's not banking with them. But she's actually moving a lot of money and she's doing a lot of business. And she asked, so why aren't you banking? It's like, you people just have too many conditions.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, you're not here. Second, when I come looking for you, you'll just speaking to me in too much English. So that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Is there space for the banking sector to actually start looking and listening to customers and meeting a customer at the customer's point of need in their language?
Actually, I think that's where banking is going now. We are past the time where bankers would sit and wait for a customer to walk into the bank and then they play big and I'm the manager. The customer is now the boss. Exactly. We are now going out there in the market. But what's important, like you say, is understand their needs. Understand what they require from you and you give them what they require from you. And we're seeing that, we're doing that. We know now that the informal sector has got quite a lot going out there. And for us, it's really to ensure that we understand them and we give them what they need. And they don't need much. Actually, to be honest with you, some of these people don't even need loans. They just need ways of moving their money and putting their money away. That is, most of the informal sector actually have money. So it's just about giving them the products that will make sure that they save their money, they invest their money, they move their money around, and then they can also get their loans.
Okay. I proceed the next question to Mariam, I want to move into women empowerment. It's like a buzzword in Africa. Every financial institution has to think about, women empowerment. MSMEs is one, women empowerment is the other.
Yes.
What is women empowerment to you as the CEO of a financial bank?
I think it's to make sure that women also take up space in leadership positions. For me, it's to ensure that as we lead, women must also be in those boardrooms. Women must also be decision makers. They must be in parliament. They must participate in decision making in the different areas, in politics and business and in different spaces, even socially, So that is women empowerment for me, because you'll find that these decisions are made by men, but they affect women also. So women must also play a big role. And then over and above that, I think women are good service providers. So it's very important that we allow women to take up space in service, whatever form of service. I mean, I'm here because Lillian has invited me, Lillian Ngala, for the Lillian Network. But this weekend, I'm going to be in the village with her, doing some service, building homes, giving women training kits for sewing and empowering them so that they can be able to learn, have sewing skills and start their own businesses. That is women empowerment.
Okay.
So it's about that.
So now straddle those two, the financial services sector and women empowerment, women-run businesses, women enterprises.
Okay, so sorry, come again?
So how, from your position as a CEO of a bank, and you're looking at women and seeing women who are getting into business and running business.
Yes.
That's because that's the whole thing.
Can I just put it simply? How about the banks just give women money?
No, it can't be just give women money. But what's important is making sure that women also do get money. So whatever we do, we must make sure that, there's a gender equality, in everything that we do. I mean, for instance, we've got a fund, an agriculture fund as a bank that we hold. And every time I'm always screaming, I'm not seeing women and this fund is available. So for us is to ensure that women participate also and do get the benefits, then they do participate and get the funding that men are also getting to support them in their business.
Why?
So that is my role as a woman in leadership in a bank, to make sure that women also do get to be funded.
Why are the women not participating in that fund?
Okay.
What are the barriers?
Sometimes it comes back to them. You know, they will tell you that, okay, they've got the land, but maybe they're married and then they need to go and get husband to support or to sign or to agree and to approve. That is one of the reasons. Some of them, it's really, they're fearful of taking the steps. So they need to be mentored. They need to be guided and to be given the go-ahead to say, look, you can do it. So I think it's a lot of work just about the mindset also and the thinking that, I'm a woman, maybe not, and stuff like that.
So I feel differently. That's why I said, why don't we just give women money? Because sometimes I feel like women are stuck in this loop of being empowered.
Yeah.
And then
They always want to be empowered.
The most empowering thing you can give a woman is money.
Just give her money. But
And I would say an education.
education,
And
yes.
money.
Don't put it like
there's
that.
financial literacy that goes alongside the money, because there are so many things that string together. You're right, Mariam.
Financial
I
literacy,
personally have a big
yes.
problem with the word empowerment, because I feel like time and again the term empowerment has been used to keep women stuck in this space.
Just a buzzword.
It's a buzzword, but we are not actually then substantiating the empowerment. So what are we doing? Financial literacy on the education aspect. Is
And
something
money
that-
then.
and money then comes
So it's a
with it.
package.
Yes.
It's not just give money,
Yes,
but also
correct.
financial literacy and then
Yes.
whatever skill that they need
Yes.
to apply the money. So it's a package than to just give women money.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair. I was going to go into it come back now to the Zulu Nation, but before that, the way women make money is also quite different, and I know it moves. It
And they're
looks
actually
different.
good repayers, eh?
Yes, I was
Like
gonna
they repay loans very well, better than men, I must say that.
Right. So then, actually, that was going to be my next question. Would be, are we then building financial products that are very in tune with their needs, with their repayment habits? I think for us, we have, for example, who we call Mama Mbogas, the women that sell your groceries and veggies, like very close to your home, alongside the road.
Yeah.
And they often do this thing where they take a loan in the morning to buy
And they
stock for the
repay it
day,
later.
and they repay it later. And now financial solutions work for them, so that it's just that daily 24-hour cycle. So what's a similar thing happening with the Bank of Eswatini?
That's what we've started doing. We are looking out for women now. We realize that actually they are being left out and we're just giving one vanilla product for everyone. But we have started basically looking out for the way they do business, because most of them you'll find that they're just selling along the street. They will get money. By the end of the day, they will have enough money to repay those short loans. So we definitely are working on that. Yeah.
There's a question that's come from one of our fixers. His name is Wash. He says, what's your view on the recent wave of Southern African banks? And when I said wave, we shall come to that other wave.
Yeah.
But the wave of Southern African banks and businesses, making, venturing into East Africa, Central Africa, for example, banks that have, take huge stake in Kenya, and then we are seeing a lot of investment in that. We're also seeing, of course, some like Vodacom coming into Kenya, majorly with Safaricom. Right.
You want to bring me into a little political issue now?
It's
Look,
geopolitics for business.
I think for me, Africa is Africa, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be open to doing business together as Africans. The borders are there, yes, but allow Kenyans to come into Eswatini, do business in Eswatini move to South Africa, do business to South. So for me, but what is important also is that as they do business there, they must also give back to that economy, because half the time you'll find that they do business, they take and go home.
Yeah.
So there should be a balance between doing business here, but giving back here and also having your share, of course. So I don't have a problem so long as the economy of Kenya too will get something of some form of value from it, because we are one. So let's do business together and allow me to invest in Kenya and you can invest in Eswatini. That's not a problem.
I tell you, actually, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it that, an African bank bank is investing in another African country, just like Equity in Kenya is investing in DRC and other African countries and KCB as well. It's a good thing because we've been having banks from outside of Africa and business investing in Africa. So if it's intra-Africa trade, good and the way to go. How can we make that bigger?
I think the conversation has to be a lot more stronger. As Africans, and I think we're allowing the external voices. We're listening more to the external voices than we are listening to ourselves. Yet I think we carry a lot of more value, a lot of intelligence that we can actually apply. So for us, we need to have that conversation a lot more. And it then takes me back to history. I think back then we used to be one, as Africans, but these borders were created and they were not created by ourselves, by the way. So we need to remember that and understand that, let's work together as Africans and let's consistently be that voice and remind ourselves who we are together as Africans. And that's what we need to do, I think. Because there's things now that are happening amongst ourselves which shouldn't be. And so we need to find a way of pushing that back because they will definitely throw us out. They won't build us, but they will destroy us.
Agreed.
Or even just mooch off what we have.
What we exactly.
Which is exactly what's been happening. Just extraction and not so much that's happening in terms of input. I opened this page of the Business Daily because you're a woman in banking and I want to get your thoughts on how Africa in itself, when we speak about data that is supposed to, benefit the continent. Flawed credit ratings in Africa are agencies driven by data bias. There's a lot of bias, and like you said, a lot of external parties that tell Africa what to do because we're always looking outward. Are we at a position where we can actually then build our own data, our own credit agencies that then would change the way we operate in the continent?
Look, Africa is capable of anything. I think we are. We have the skills. We have the know-how. We just need to apply them and we need to be confident in ourselves. So I think we don't lack anything. But we just need to come back to ourselves and say we are able and we are capable of doing this and not think the other person has better knowledge and understanding and is more intelligent than we are. We've got, the data that is in this Africa that we sit in right now is huge, so we can do it.
Why not do it?
We
I'd
can.
like to see it in the near future. And I think it just takes the African Union sitting down and deciding we will have an African credit rating agency.
And I think it's the younger generation that's coming up because they're more intelligent, actually. They're so intelligent and so they can do it.
I want to move a little further south now and go into the Zulu nation. And just explain to us the structure of how the monarchy of the Zulu nation, for example, exists within South Africa as a whole, and what role monarchies play when it comes to economic development as well. It might be a softer, touch,
it is
but
softer,
exactly
yes.
How does it work? Yeah.
All right, so the Zulu nation, like I said, it's within the Republic of South Africa, but they own the land. So if you own the land, you got the power. And then they have the people, obviously those that are subjects.
Yes.
So because of that, then obviously they work together with the government to ensure that, economic projects are driven and the projects that will support not just government but the nation and the citizens of the Zulus. So that's where they come in to ensure that they also support projects. They also have a say in the projects that are being driven within the province to make sure that they are also contributing not just to the economy of the province but to the people of the Zulu nation.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
It's a subtle role though because it's not like they're government per se.
And this would be within KwaZulu-Natal.
And in all the other, because the whole of South Africa, like I said, they've got chiefdoms, and areas like that. And they also, have the land, they have the people.
Yeah.
So, and believe you me, they have bigger influence in the people. So government needs to stay close to the traditional leaders because it just takes the traditional leaders saying that direction and everybody goes that direction much against what government says. So that's why there's got to be that cordial relationship.
I'm just wondering, again, just because it's not an independent nation, but it's a kingdom that sits
Yes.
within a republic. In terms of having representation of the kingdom within the government, are there any set out seats, roles, ministries that then the kingdom
There are ministries.
has? There are?
Yes, there are ministries
which ones
that
are
look
those?
after traditional leaders.
Uh-huh.
There are ministries that represent traditional leaders within
Okay.
government. So yes, there is a structure.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So they ultimately have a say.
They do have a say.
It's a very interesting dynamic.
It is an interesting dynamic.
And recognizes that. I think even Uganda also has a similar kind of,
Yes.
where you have the Uganda Kingdom and the others. And it's I see the importance of it in recognizing the, cultural values of a people.
Definitely.
And then also just placing it up there, because there are people who, you live in a certain way. So we had all those things here. We had the Maasai Kingdom, we had the Gikuyu, we had the Luya and the Luo kingdoms, but it just, we lost it all.
You lost it, yeah.
Now, let's compare, and because I know you're well versed in not just Eswatini and South Africa, but also in other areas, what's the importance of retaining that to the cultural identity of a people?
I think
And how does that then also, the cultural identity and all, bring national cohesion, if at all?
I think it unites people. Culture unites people, tradition unites people. And also there's a certain value system that just gets created. I'm Swati, and there's one thing for sure that I know: I must be respectful, I must be humble. There's a way that I do things. And that just stems from my culture and my tradition. As much as I live in the modern world, but I do definitely have my value system stemming from my culture and my tradition. So that is why we have to try and maintain our tradition and our culture, because they bring us together as one, uniting us, reminding us who we are, and over and above that, you get reminded of how you should do things and how you ought to live as a being. I'll take, for instance, in Eswatini and in Zulu, there's two cultural events, which is the reed dance.
Yeah.
And when you want to feel the vibe during that time in Eswatini or in KZN, everybody is united, loving this event, being there together, watching these girls feel that they are pure and their womanhood they're proud of their womanhood. So there's this thing about culture that just makes your values, your person, your confidence in you and who you are. And that's why we need to maintain it. We need to maintain it.
So
I'm actually feeling, as I speak about it, I can literally,
I can feel
it comes out.
Are there very many similarities between you as a Swati, the culture, and the culture of the Zulu?
Very similar.
And are there things that are different?
Yeah.
Are there things that you had to learn, like you're like, oh, okay, now this is new?
Look, not really. Zulus respect. How women do it in Swatini is more or less the same. So there's nothing much. That's why I never found any difficulty in transitioning, from Eswatini to the Zulu kingdom. Actually, we share a lot of traditions as Zulus and Swatis. The Mhlanga is one of them. The Ngwala is one of them. And
What are those?
they're just the different ones. Ngwala is a traditional prayer, end of year prayer that each kingdom does. So we share a lot of activities and a lot of values. We have Zulus coming in for the Swatis going in. So really it's more or less the same, to be honest. There's nothing pretty much different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Both of them are polygamous, right?
Oh yeah, now you're touching on that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, they are.
There are 4 queens
In Zulu.
in Zulu.
Yes.
You're the second.
Yes.
How does the king of the Zulu choose a wife?
All right. With me, we had a relationship before he was king. So when he was still a prince, then it went on, he became king, we got married. And that is pretty much how he has been getting into relationships. He would get into a relationship with somebody and then he has a wife after that. That's how he chooses the wife. He hasn't chosen one at the Mhlanga, but he can do that. He can choose a wife at the reed dance. And that's kind of the expectation, that at the reed dance, when all the maidens have come together, there's an expectation that the king will then pick somebody there. It's his choice. He can decide to, or he can decide not to. And it's the same with Eswatini. He can decide to choose at the reed dance or not to. It's not a standing rule that every year. I mean, King Mswati has been in leadership for 40 years. So if he had to choose a wife every year, then he's supposed to have 40 wives. And he doesn't have 40 wives. Too much.
The kingdom as well in Zulu is hereditary, but not automatic. Right? Please explain.
Not automatic?
Not automatic. No. Like in other kingdoms, the firstborn son or daughter will become the automatic heir.
Yes.
Right? That's not the case in the Zulu?
All right, so what will normally happen is that the king that is reigning at the time will have wives, and then if it happens that amongst those wives there's a princess from another kingdom, then it is expected that that princess will give birth to the heir, and then that heir will take over after. That is what happened to the king that is ruling right now. The mother is a Swati princess. So when she married into Zulu, even though she was wife number 3, but when the king passed, and she became the regent, and then the son, the current king right now, became the king. So if there's a princess amongst the wives, then it is expected that, because you have to honor another kingdom, So if you marry a princess, then that princess in a way, takes up the regent. So that is what happens. But if there is no princess, chances are the first wife is probably going to be the one if he has a son.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just to take you back, we're just about to go on a short break, but to the reed dance, I had a question around the autonomy of women with regards to the reed dance. So essentially, one, I think people see it and they're like, okay, this happens every year. Okay, does he have 40 wives? Those are the questions that come about. The other, and then it's up to the king to decide, am I looking for someone this year? Am I not? What agency do the women have in saying no to a king?
Would you say no to a king?
That's it.
It's a very valid question.
Yeah, it is. Look, they kind of have a choice, but they don't, because they go to the reed dance willingly, eagerly, wantingly. So you
They've
kind
subjected
of
themselves to
exactly.
the process.
You've subjected yourself to the process, and if you get chosen there, you kind of knew that would happen.
So
that
if you
is
didn't
why
want to, don't go to the reed
don't
dance.
go if you believe that this is not what you want.
Okay.
So that is why those that have been taken there, you will never hear of stories like they kind of cried their lives away, because they were sad about what has happened. They always wanted.
If you don't want to be a queen, don't go to the
Don't
reed
go
dance.
to the reed dance. Stay safe.
And if you want a shot at it,
If you want to be a queen, go to the reed dance and hold the front line. Make sure you sing.
Put in your best
Can the
work.
king decree that all women, all girls must go to the reed dance?
No, it's a choice. It's a choice. So what happens is there will be an announcement a week before, 2 weeks before, that the reed dance is coming. Oh, but the energy and the excitement, those young people just love
Goes
it.
beyond the
Yes, but if you're a parent, like my parents were, from a mission Christian kind of a background.
They said no.
So they wouldn't take me there. So I never did go to the reed dance because my parents were just like, no, we don't subscribe to this kind of living, so there's a choice.
Okay. Let's take a short break, Your Royal Highness.
Thank you.
Now that you've said that your parents are, were devout Christians, how do they feel about you getting into a polygamous union? But let's take a short break. Queen Nozizwe Mulela-Zulu is the queen of the Zulu nation, but also the CEO of the Bank of Eswatini. We've been having a conversation on all that, straddling between royalty, culture, and business and leadership across the continent. We'll be back shortly. It's coming up to 8 a.m. We'll be here for about 20 minutes because we are going to cross over to, where is it? The Jamhuri grounds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where the Nyota and the Talanta will be happening.
Oh, it's at Ulinzi.
Yeah.
It's at Ulinzi. All right. We'll be going there shortly, but it's 8 a.m. Short break. We'll be back.
My
You're
name is
receiving,
and
you're
I've
receiving
received-
public money.
Yeah.
There's nothing about you receive public money for purposes of audit
Accountability.
No consent required.
Civil servants receive public money every month.
Those are salaried workers, and you can find a list
You
of
can
who.
find them.
You can find a list of everybody who works for government.
And how much they're getting.
Well, how much they're getting
See?
is
On their job group. Tangalia job
You
group.
look at their job group.
Okay.
It's clear. If you're in job group this is how much you're entitled to.
You're earning this.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Back in conversation with Queen, and there are several comments here that are coming in. Tibbs Muge says, I agree with her. SMEs with no records or bookkeepers cannot transfer leadership or ownership under emergencies.
That's a hard one.
Tough.
It's tough. So you mean for me to give you money?
No, that's a hard one. I don't think so.
And then she says, great debate indeed. Indeed, women are on top of the notch and they should keep on shining. Right? Steve Oket says, we had something beautiful until the colonizer came.
Yeah,
This is about,
that's it.
just tearing apart our cultures and trying to get away.
That's
and
it.
so when, some cultures actually retain a lot of that fabric, it's a beautiful thing. Now, straddle
Certainly.
that between the guy comes with the Bible.
Yeah.
And then you follow the Bible.
My parents.
Yeah. and it says that, you shall be monogamous.
Yeah.
And then here is their daughter dating somebody who could become the next king of the Zulu, which means that they are going to be likely to be polygamous. What was their reaction?
Sure, they were shocked. Look, I struggled a bit myself. Issues of the heart, my brother. They are something else. But I also had a debate in my head, before the whole relationship started. But with my parents, I maybe there was a silent voice saying, "Nah, she'll get over it, and then it'll." But it didn't. It's just a phase. Now let's allow her. It will pass.
Yeah.
As she experiences, a lot of things that she probably does not know and understand. But that didn't happen, and it was when the marriage part came. I think that was the big shocker, even just with my broader family. But it is what it is, and here I am, and that's how it was, and yeah.
I think even before your parents, there is the part of you having to,
Yeah. That's why
a situation
I
that you
really
like-
had a conversation with myself. Not just even from a Christian point of view, but also from a modern woman point of view.
Yep.
I mean, people are like you, honestly, and I used to say that myself, honestly. But it happened, and I think what's important in all this, and that what's keeping me alive in all this is it's my value system. As a Christian, I respect, I'm humble, I love. As a traditional leader, woman, wife, I respect, I'm humble, I love. As a modern woman, I respect, I'm humble, I love. So the values are the same in all the different spaces. And I think that's what keeps me together.
Right.
You're not one thing. There's space for all of those things to exist. And I think the biggest challenge that we keep finding, because this is a conversation I've had in different quarters on the modern woman versus tradition and bringing these two together. Can they exist in the same pot? Would you be the woman that says, I am advocating for myself. This is what women of this day and age require, and still stand in a polygamous situation and advocate for that as well. People find it very hard to reconcile the two. True. Because
I think they are two different. They bring two different things. Like I said, the traditional woman will bring that value system, but the modern woman will bring the innovation. The thought process, the creativity, and you bring it together. I mean, I always tell people, you must watch me when I'm now rocking my headscarf, in my heels. And I feel, look, I've brought in my headscarf because I'm a traditional woman, but I've got a way of tying it that makes it modern. But I've balanced the two, so you can, in a way.
I like that, and I always I think the thing that women have to believe is it doesn't have to be either or. It can be and.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's not always this like choice, and it feels very reductive. But I want to know about the misconceptions you had perhaps coming into your role, because when it comes to work, you kind of know what work's going to look like. You've studied, you get into work, but coming into becoming royalty, there's what you think you were going to do versus what you've done. So tell me about what you thought you'd be able to do as Queen of Zulu Nation that you haven't been able to do. And on the flip side, what surprising thing you've been able to do that has impacted people that you had no clue you would have.
It's continuing to work.
Okay.
I think continuing to work. Because that's what I feared the most.
Yeah.
That, you'll be told now you have to stop working. And I'm like, God, all that work, the studying and everything. And now I just have to be at home and be a stay-at-home queen. So continuing to work is what surprised me. I'm being allowed to continue to work and I love it. And I think that's the modern queen. Get up and go and work as a modern queen while you also continue your role. It's heavy. It's difficult to balance because you've got to do the two. And I think what I expected and what is really happening, it's really because you've got to have a passion. And then in that space, you do what you love. I want to empower women. I'm trying to empower young people, education and all that. So it's a nice space to do what you're passionate about and work with and collaborate with organizations to just drive whatever you're passionate about.
Right.
So what is challenging at the moment? Because there's always something challenging. If you are the woman who wants to talk a bit, now you need to, from the boardroom to the grass mat, sit there quietly like you don't know anything. That's a bit of a challenge because you'll sit there and like, I've got the answer for that. But you can't actually come out and say, hey, I've got the answer for that. You have to, quietly find a way of bringing that answer forward without actually becoming, taking over. And so that's a difficult balance.
I like that. I've even written down like subtle diplomacy.
Just leaving the boardroom there and coming back home and being a wife and a traditional wife for that matter, because there's certain things that you have to do. I mean, you have to sit on a grass mat. From that boardroom where you're sitting on the main seat and
asking the questions.
And asking the questions and putting people to book and calling your shots, and then suddenly you have to come back and you come down and you're quiet. It's a tough balance, but I'm trying.
Is there space for that? If you just look back now, from your own value systems, from your own exposure into this modern world and into the traditional and cultural, is there space for that? For like seeding ground and finding a way of raising a voice? Because I'm asking that because one of the conversations that actually happens nowadays is no, that is subjugation.
Look, you'll be surprised that in these traditional structures, actually women have so much power. It's just that you may not see it in the forefront. But behind the scenes, the women actually are driving this whole thing. So there is space for that. But I think with the traditional structures, it's the how you do it. In the boardroom you can just speak out, but in back at home in those traditional structures you have a way of bringing your point forward. You need tact. You need to think about how you bring it forward. But believe you me, the women are there.
They're the drivers.
Yes, they are the drivers. It's just that they're behind. As is in every family
it's
structure.
not. It's actually the women are the drivers in very many
they
things.
are.
It's acknowledging that.
Acknowledging that it's a problem.
That's why the problem.
And we don't want to men should acknowledge that they are the drivers. It's okay. We know, and we will stay with that. We'll stay knowing.
Soft power.
We can keep it that way.
Soft power. We can keep it that way. It's fine.
Yeah, it works for you. Fine, it works for you.
Yeah.
If it sounds good to your ears.
Yeah. May I apologize because I'm about to venture into something a bit political, and you can say yes or no to answering this question.
Okay, I'll say yes or no.
Okay. Now, in KZN, we hosted a lady here last week.
Okay.
She's one of the people who were helped by the government of Kenya to return to Kenya because of the ongoing anti-immigrant protests in South Africa. She was in KwaZulu-Natal. And she says, I've lived there with these people for 15 years and suddenly I had to leave And many of the people are asking us, ask the Queen what she thinks of this.
Look, we've had the discussion in this, like earlier, that I said we are Africans, so let's work together. But also as Africans, let's do the right thing. That is my answer. We're Africans, let's welcome each other and be together. But let's also do what's right to live happily together.
Would you help me understand what doing the right thing is?
So, for instance, the issue, as I understand it, it's about illegal. Being in a space illegally, because there's rules and regulations in every structure, in your home, anywhere, there's rules and regulations of how you go about and how you live there. So I don't see a problem with us being everywhere and anywhere, but I'm in here legally. And that's what it should be, I think. I believe that. Not to say we must fight each other and chase each other. We don't want each other. And I did say earlier that we're one people. But because we've got borders for now and rules and regulations of how one gets into the other, let's stick to that.
Okay.
That's
so
my comment.
Is there space for following the law as well? And just that good order in identifying those that are not doing things the right way and, picking them out versus blanketing everybody?
I think governments have got to do better. Because what has been happening, for instance, in South Africa, maybe, just maybe, it's because certain things were not done at the right time to ensure that people are able to access the right documentation, for instance, or it's easier, or they're able to, in order to be able to move into. So I think government needs to do better in improving the situation so that the people do not get to the state where they've now gotten to, and it now looks like we're fighting each other. Exactly. So I think it's important that government goes back to the drawing board, looks at how best can we do this thing so that we get everybody to live together, but the right way. So government must take the lead.
I think from where the rest of the continent sits, just looking at how things have been shaping out, it's one creating such strained relationships, and much as we're saying we're all Africans,
nice.
It's now starting to, we start looking at each other as enemies.
Exactly.
And are we at the point where the damage is so
too far gone?
Is it too far gone that it's irreparable, or are we at a point where if the leaders, such like yourselves, the government of South Africa, can come together and start mending it before it gets worse?
You've answered the question. It's the leadership. I think leaders need to do what they have to do to fix the problem. People took everything, the law, into their hands because they were frustrated, but the leadership has to come to the party. The leadership has to be proactive and not wait until things get to this point. So if the leaders of Africa get together and look at how do we best work together, how do we best live together and allow each other to live in each other's spaces. So leadership here becomes important.
Is there an opportunity for Queen Nozi to be at the forefront of agitating for this leadership to come together?
Well, in my own space, I am doing that. In my own space, obviously, I talk about it where I am in my corners. So why not?
In the royal court?
Yes, we do talk about it.
Okay.
And I'm sure you have seen the views in the royal court.
I was going to go back to speaking to the banker, not the Queen now. What role does economic empowerment play in essentially crushing xenophobia?
Look, the frustration of xenophobia, and I don't know whether that's the situation, it's that, they're taking our jobs, they're taking our work, businesses and all that. And maybe, just maybe, we need to empower our people a lot more and allow them to do the businesses that they should be doing. There's certain businesses that maybe should be given to the locals so that they're able to also grow, and do their businesses. So I think for banks also it's important that they support the small businesses and able to empower the locals to be able to do businesses so that they don't find themselves thinking that foreigners have come in to take their jobs.
Okay. Just as we wrap up the conversation, I wanted to look at the world coming into Africa. It's kind of the trend of the moment, and it's everyone realizing, wow, look at this nice continent. I always reference like the year of return in Ghana, saw massive amounts of, especially people, Black Americans come into Ghana, and you'll keep seeing it happening over the next the last few years, and you will keep seeing it happen. But how do we essentially we're already open as a continent, but how do we stay open to investment, to exchange of culture, of ideas, of technology, of all these things, while still being rooted in our Africanness? And I pose that to you because the people of Eswatini and of South Africa have managed to do it impressively so. And even earlier I was going to ask, having been colonized for some of the longest periods, I'm not sure when Eswatini gained independence, but I'm assuming it's the 80s. Right?
1968.
Oh, 68, that was quite early. Fantastic. With South Africa, it was 94.
1994.
To still be rooted in your culture despite being that, long and a colonizer, takes some level of will, I'm assuming.
I think it goes back to what I said earlier, to say that we need to, appreciate and acknowledge our culture and tradition and who we are and where we come from. It is our identity. And if you hold on to that, you can have the modern and the Western influence, but in all that, just know who you are and where you're coming from. I think sometimes, Africa is like a beautiful girl that doesn't know how beautiful they are, and somebody can see the beauty, but she doesn't know that she's that beautiful. And I think we need to come back to self then and find that beauty that we have in ourselves.
I quite like that. Yeah. What does that look like practically on a day-to-day basis? Because I wake up, everything is modern. I'm going to, I put on my YouTube, I scroll on my phone, I'm in my kitchen, I wear my Western clothes, and then I come to my Western job.
It's the small
in my
things.
Western car,
It starts with the small things. I mean, one of the things that I'm seeing in South Africa and in Eswatini, for instance, we're beginning to appreciate our own music.
Right.
Back then we wanted the Michael Jacksons, the Janet Jacksons, the Ushers, but now who wants that? We are more like into our own music. We are now into our own food, even our dress code now. I mean, you must see the Swatis. I rock my traditional Swati attire to work.
Nice.
Yeah, and so it's the small things, the dress code, the food you eat, the music you listen to, that will start making you remember that you're still African regardless of the other influences.
I quite like that.
Yeah.
And you're right, the music is a big part of it.
Yeah, it's a big part
see,
of it. So the arts are the greatest driver of ensuring that we remain African.
Yeah. And we see it happening here as well.
Yeah.
I keep saying, for the first time, like in Kenya, when you look at, for example, like the Spotify top 100, and let's even start with the top 10, 8 out of 10 songs will be Kenyan.
Exactly.
And that hasn't been the case for a very long time.
Yeah.
It's a good way.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Your Royal Highness, thank you very much for joining us today. For how long are you in the country?
For 7 days. So I am off tomorrow to the village. I'm going to be working with Lillian Ngala Foundation. An exciting weekend. I'll be building a house, getting on the roof.
Okay.
And then we are empowering some women on Monday, sewing machines, sewing classes. We're starting school with the foundation. So a lot of work. I'll be seeing the projects that Lillian has been working on. Great work I'm seeing there. And for me, that is where I want to see leaders. When you're a leader, it's not about the boardroom and that office that you're living in, but it's about what you're doing with that position. Service, going out there still. And I want to participate in that. So that's why I'm here, actually. I was telling her, Lillian, I'm here to see these projects, to steal them. I'm going back to implement the same, cut and paste.
Love it. Love it.
All the best, and well done to Lillian as well for the foundation and the work that she's doing, and good luck to Lillian and to you, Queen Nozizwe Mulela-Zulu.
Thank you.
CEO.
He's got the accent. He almost has
got it right.
Yeah.
I got it?
Got it right.
Okay. Eswatini Bank CEO and also Queen of the Zulu Nation in South Africa. Intra-Africa has been our guest for the last 1.5 hours. We're taking a short break. We come back and we'll be linking up with The Ground, where today phase 2 of the Nyota Fund is about to be launched for that disbursement. We'll be talking about that shortly. Keep it here for that. This is Fixing the Nation, one conversation at a time.